What's up, everybody? Welcome to the late night lawn care show where everybody just has a good time. We all talk about lawn care and whatever else. I don't know what we'll get into tonight, but generally it's lawn care, and I just envision my show as kind of a late night lawn care show because we got Ron that leads. I think Matt Martin was doing a show tonight as well. And I don't think anybody's going live right now, so I always envision this show just being the late night lawn care show, the Jimmy Fallon, the Stephen Colbert. I don't remember the other late night shows of the lawn care industry. Conan O'Brien, there you go.
Yeah.
We're just having a good time tonight, and that's what this show's all about, guys. So I hope everyone enjoys the show. Tonight I have with me Chuck Morgan from the Dadding All Day Lawn Care Show. Thanks for tuning in, coming on board tonight, Chuck. How you doing?
I'm doing good. It's Friday, so I am feeling. And then tomorrow's the first day of spring, so that makes it even better. So I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. That's what this show is all about. It's all about the breathe out and just relax, grab a drink, grab a snack, just sit back and have a good time. Hopefully we have some good stories, maybe a tip or two here that people can learn from. I am by no means a professional in the lawn care industry. Chuck is also kind of on the same page with me. He's a DIYer, just learning as he goes, and learning as much as he can from the much more intelligent people in our community that have a lot more experience and just education in the industry. So that's where we kind of stand. And but we're not afraid to try to answer questions if you have any. So do throw those in the chat if you have any. We will get to them if we can. If we miss them, it's not because we didn't want to answer them. It's usually because the chat can go through pretty quick and we just may miss them. So don't be afraid to drop them in the chat multiple times just so we see them and all that kind of stuff. So, Chuck, before we were getting going tonight, you were just saying you kind of got up into or out in your lawn a little bit this week. What were you doing?
So yesterday I did my first mow, but it was mainly out of like necessity. So I don't want to spoil anything, but I guess it doesn't matter. My lawn season / YouTube channel I'm trying to keep it episodic. So it's like each, upload sort of tease into the next one and so forth and so on. So I'm going to be doing a spring overseed at my house because I didn't do anything in the fall. And so I want to just see what happens. So tomorrow, first day of spring, go figure, I'm going to do my spring overseed. So I had to get the grass cut down a little bit. Not that there was much growth, but it was just the bag for like 2,000 square feet. So it was just another excuse to get outside. But I mean, we did that. I have a video coming out tomorrow where I sort of expanded my flower bed a little bit.
Okay.
Because when they built these houses a couple years ago, they kind of just sort of cut it in to the house a little bit, so it's not very easy to mow and it's not very appealing to me. So I dug that out a little bit, because I know people are always like, "Oh, I like mowing so much," and it's like I do too, but not to the point where it's difficult, you know.
So this is the first spring you've had in this lawn, right?
Right. Yeah, we moved in early October of last year. And so between moving in and getting settled and all that kind of stuff, I had no time for the lawn. I think I did 2 or 3 videos like after October, which is when everything's starting to heat back up, for fall lawn renovations, that kind of thing. And I couldn't do anything. I did film stuff at some other houses, but even those didn't get released because I just didn't have time moving in. So I really haven't done much in the lawns to get to go out and get to sort of actually investigate and look at stuff and figure out plans and all this. So, and it's warming up, which is also nice.
Well, I definitely know the struggles of moving into a house with a brand new lawn and not knowing much about the lawn and kind of, I mean, with your case, you were moving in the fall, which is prime time for like doing most renovations or overseeding. And at that point in time, you probably didn't know if you needed to do it, or if you did know you needed to do it, you probably had much more important things that needed to be done. Where in my case, I moved in right in the middle of winter. So I had some time to kind of prepare for spring, but I didn't really know what the lawn needed or didn't need. So
Right.
I understand that it's always like this past year was a really cool learning experience for me, and I'm sure this first year with the full year at your new lawn is going to be really cool as well. And it's just going to continue to educate you through your experience and all those kind of things. So it'll be cool to follow along with your channel and just kind of seeing all those types
Yeah.
of things. If you guys don't know of Chuck, his channel link to his YouTube channel and Instagram is all in the video description. After the show, feel free to give him check him out. Give him a subscribe to his channel. He's very I love his editing because he's a videographer
Okay.
by trade. So he's his
I didn't know where you were gonna go with that because you kind of had this weird pause, and then it's like he's very, and I'm like, okay, this could be so many different things. So I'm glad you said editing. So I'm like eccentric. He's kind of weird. I don't
no,
know, but
your editing style is really cool because you have, I would say, skills of filming and editing that most of us YouTubers in our line don't have, and we just
mhm,
kind of learn on the fly. Where you have, like, I mean, that's your job, right? You do
right,
that on a day
yeah,
to day basis, so you have an
mhm,
idea of how to film things and then how to edit things to make them look a certain way. So give Chuck a
yeah.
follow because he makes some really cool stuff.
Beard oil stock from Lazy Lawns. I love that.
Thank you, Lazy Lawns. Actually, beer. I do make my own beard oil and I do make my own
What?
beard balm.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Well, you gotta hook me up, man. I'm like, it's getting there. I'm not quite ready for it yet because it's still growing out from like shaving it and rocking the mustache for a long time. But um, I'm always like just sort of scouring the internet for like the most obscure beard oils, and my wife said, she makes fun of me for it, and I'm like,
So I don't
eh.
know if you'd be happy with mine because it's pretty simple. I don't use anything. I use a little almond oil, little essential oils to make it smell a certain way, and that's pretty much it. And then the beard balm is a little bit more in depth, but it's still some pretty simple ingredients. But
I'm gonna steal it
I'd
and put it
I'd be
on my
happy to
channel.
pass it along.
No, but yeah, so yeah, as you were saying, I do have a full-time, like my full-time job is videography. I learned it, or learned it. I went to college, everybody. Um, I studied it in school. And so yeah, and you and I were talking before, and it's like before I did like the lawn care YouTube thing, like I tried to be like that Peter McKinnon, Casey Neistat daily vlogger type thing, because that's kind of their style too, because that's their background as well. And it's like I didn't like it. And then I realized ever since I was a kid, I loved mowing the lawn. Like my mom, when I was 5 years old, bought one of the plastic John Deere pedal mowers,
Mm-hmm.
and it actually had the trailer attachment on the back. So I'd like pedal my brother around the backyard and everything. And so I was mowing one day. I'm like, what am I? Oh no, I was planting a tree. If you go back on the channel, I think that's the first video you can watch. I was trying to plant a tree, and I'm like, this is actually fun. I'm enjoying this, and so it just took off from there. But yeah, I try to find that balance because when you're a videographer, you're always sort of behind the camera shooting somebody else. So filming myself kind of makes it a little bit more of a challenge, and that's where I find guys like Ryan Knorr, like he's been able to sort of master that sort of
Mm-hmm.
mix. Where almost I think it's because he's got that super awesome camera that I'm jealous of, that I haven't been able to get yet. But he just finds that way to like make it look so cinematic, and like not that I'm saying I don't, but he just masters that, I think. So, um, oh, and there was actually a couple questions about
Yeah,
gardening.
so I was gonna get to that. Emilio from Up New York Lawn. He said, guys, you both love gardening and wanted to ask something not lawn related. Do you guys do your own mix for raised garden beds? What's your preferred mix? Cheers. One day closer to mow. Do you have anything?
I've never done a raised garden bed. When I do my flower beds, I usually just like I'll till it and then I'll mix it with Black Cow. I love
Okay.
Black Cow, even though it's got mulch in it, or not. Yeah, it's basically got mulch in it, but I just like Black Cow, and so I'll do like Black Cow, just like the Scots or not Scots, what is it?
Okay.
Miracle-Gro, like the gardening bed
Mm-hmm.
mix, and I'll just mix that up with my topsoil because it's Tennessee red clay and that stuff is awful.
Sure.
So you got to sort of try to soften it up a little bit. So that's usually my mix for my flower beds. But we're actually for the first time going to be doing a raised garden bed this year.
Okay.
My wife really wants to do one, so I said okay, and so we bought a couple. Someone was selling them for $10, like actual kits for the actual wood planks or
Yep.
whatever. So we're gonna figure that out because I've never actually done a garden, so I'm gonna see what we can grow.
So, Emilio, I don't remember the ratio of products we've used. You can go back if check the video out that we did when we made the raised garden beds. But I know it's a combination of mushroom compost, um, manure, and just your regular old soil. But I don't remember the ratio. Um, but I know I mentioned the ratio in my raised garden bed video, and I'll try to throw that in the chat here. Um, but that's what I've used. I don't. This past year is my first year doing it, so I can't say I have like some real, you know, good mix dialed in. I actually learned that from a gardening YouTube channel. I think it's called Epic Gardening. I forget the guy's name, but I know I've watched his stuff. That's where I learned some of the things that and recommendations for soil that I've used to fill in my raised garden beds. So that's what I've used. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but our plants did pretty good last year. We'll probably need to add some additional soil and those types of things this coming year since we did add compost. That compost does break down, so you do need to kind of add some. We probably will need to add some more soil to it. But yeah, good luck with the raised garden beds there, Chuck.
Yes.
Um, it is that last year was our first year doing it. We enjoyed it. I think it's a cool thing to do with the kids because
Yeah.
they're like to this year we started the some of the seeds inside, and my wife did.
Hmm.
She planted the seeds with the kids in the little trays, and they're seeing them grow and so it's cool because they see it grow and then they start to see the fruit coming off of it like they did
Hmm.
last year. So it's kind of neat to teach your kids and show them in those types of show them those types of things.
I think it was actually my son's idea, in all honesty. My wife's going to take credit for it, but I think my son's the one that said, I want to do a garden this year, and he wants to grow pickles. I'm like, well, we'll grow cucumbers and we'll go from there, but let's get the cucumbers first.
Sure. I want to give us a special thanks to George from Princess Cut Lawn Care. Thank you for the super chat and for tuning in tonight, bud. Thank you so much. All of that does go a long way. It does just adds additional support to the channel and those types of things. So thank you so much. I didn't see. Did you see any other questions in the chat, Chuck?
Um, Grace asked me about what flowers I'm gonna plant this year, and the answer to that is I don't know just yet. You can see some of that in my video tomorrow, but I am doing a rose bush because we just like knock out roses. But I'm still done to shade mix at the house. So the front of the sun goes to our backyard,
Mm-hmm.
and it just sort of we butt up to an old golf
Yep.
course, and so it kind of just follows the golf course in the backyard all the way down. So it's like right up against the house where the flower bed is. I think that's going to be shade all year,
Okay.
you know, um, where and even some of the front yard for that matter. But I'm curious to see as we get more into summertime if that, how much that's going to change. So I think it's going to be a mostly shade type
Mm-hmm.
garden. When I say shade, I mean, there's still enough light there that I guess it could count, but it's just not direct
Sure.
sunlight. So we'll see what I'm gonna do. Cause yeah, I don't know. My video tomorrow, I call myself the hot trash gardener or hot garbage gardener because I don't quite know what I'm gonna do at this house yet. So I just sort of do things just like whatever happens,
Would you say
happens.
that's kind of, I mean, kind of segueing off of that, would you say that's kind of how you started on your lawn care journey? Like you went, you just dove into it and were like, all right, whatever's going to happen is going to happen and I'm going to learn from it kind of deal.
Yeah. I started watching. So the first channel I ever watched was Ryan Noor because, like I said, I was the first video I did was about, and so like he did one about,
Mm-hmm.
and so then watching that, and then just sort of diving into his channel. 'Cause like I said before, I kind of like in that style that he had. Then I started watching all the lawn mowing, all his lawn, not lawn mowing, but all his lawn videos, and that's what led me to, you know, the lawn father, Mr. Alan Hain himself, watching the How to Dominate Your Neighbor, and like just like who is this nut job, and then just seeing it's like, oh, it actually does seem like it's possible, you
Sure.
know. And so yeah, it was like those two mainly. I just sort of dove in, and then I found Connor Ward, and I'm like, that's who I aspire to be. That's why I sort of grew his mustache this winter. It's just sort of throw stuff in the yard and see what happens, and most of the time it works, and then sometimes it doesn't. Like last towards the end of last season at my old house, I like, what happens if I spray this chemical on this Bermuda? What will happen? And so I doused the Bermuda that was like at the front of the yard, and so it just died and got crispy. And I'm like, well, nothing will grow there for at least 10 years. I think I just sterilized the soil.
So do you have, what is your grass type?
It's fescue. That's what I prefer, just because, and that's what I'm overseeding with tomorrow. I feel like the cultivars of fescue has, people say, oh, don't spring seed, you're gonna have summer die off and stuff. But I found, at least local, in East Tennessee, with good watering and just keeping up with like grub prevention and fungicide, or at least in the early part of it, like I've been able to keep the fescue green year
Okay.
around. So it's like it greens up first in the spring, and it's the last thing to go in the fall. So, and I mean, you get some heat stress when that, but that's why I was like, just throw some water on it, water a little bit heavy, make sure there's nothing worse. But
Sure.
so yeah, I like fescue. But here, because we butt up to the golf course in the backyard, there's like just this weird mix where like they sodded part of the backyard, they just threw seed randomly in the other part of it, and then the part that the addition that we bought into the golf course, that's obviously all, I'm pretty sure it's Bermuda 419. Um, Mine just went blank. But so I'm gonna let the Bermuda take over in the backyard with some fertilizer and water. I mean, that stuff's just gonna go like, it's gonna go nuts. So,
Yeah.
and besides, it's all fenced in. The kids play back there. The dogs do their business back there. So I'm not too concerned about it. But I'm like, I'm not gonna waste a bunch of money on seed and all this kind of stuff when the Bermuda's just gonna take over
Yeah,
anyway. Just push it.
I think that's a good idea because especially since your dogs are back there and your kids are back there, your Bermudas is going to be able to repair itself pretty well with the just natural damage that your kids and the dog will do. And I think that's a good play. Is just let the Bermuda take over and do its
Hmm.
thing rather than trying to fight it because inevitably it's just going to be an uphill battle trying to get rid of it.
It's
And
you're you're guaranteed to lose most of the time, especially when you're someone like, yeah, I'm not going to speak for you, but like me, where I mean, you're in that same boat where you have kids, you have a family, you enjoy the family time, so it's like I can't be out there. So it's like I kind of at the old house the same way. It's if I was out there mowing every 2 days in the backyard, I think my wife would leave me.
yeah, no, I,
So I gotta balance it. So it's like let the backyard go, put all my time in the front yard, make that awesome, and just let that be the showpiece, I
sure.
guess.
So that actually I haven't really dove into that kind of topic on the show yet, and that is like the mowing family dynamic, cause or the lawn care family dynamic, cause I have three
Hmm.
kids. I love taking care of the lawn, and I'm a stay at home dad, so the weekend and being out on the lawn is kind of my away time. Like my wife's like, you
Hmm.
just, get out of the house, go do something, and I'm usually like, well, I don't want to go anywhere, so I'll just go out in the lawn and just do what I need to do out there. So what is that like for you? Like how do you balance that? Because for me it's a line that I know I need to stay on the family side of and not go on the other side, just because
Right.
it wouldn't be healthy for my family if I was doing that, is putting too much time into a hobby essentially. Because
Yeah.
once you get it to a point that it looks good, you're just trying to keep making it look even better and better, and to the untrained
Yeah.
eye it's not really going to look any different.
Mm-hmm.
But that is just going to be taking time away from more important
Mm-hmm.
things like your family and kids and those types of things. So how do you balance that?
Um, I don't know. I think, I'm gonna get gushy here for a minute. I think I've married the right person that she understands where my passions are, and so she wants to be supportive of those
Mm-hmm.
passions. And so, you know, I I I worry that I do it too much as it is. But I try to keep it to two, and so neither one of us are stay at home. I mean, we're stay at home now because we're still working from home from our jobs because of COVID. But our kids are still in school, so I we try to still have that evening family time together, and so I don't want to lose that. So it's like if I can just do it 2 nights a week, or if or a Saturday. I try not to do anything on Saturday if I can help it, because that's like the full day where we have nothing going
Sure.
on, that we can just whatever we want to do, let's go do it. Where Sundays we have church, and then we go to her parents' house and we play cards and all this kind of stuff after church. So it's like if I can just do it 2 nights a week, from say 5 to 7 or 8, and then film a video in there, which always makes things take twice as long when you're trying to film a video and get your work done. Um, and I think she understands that, and she's seen, like, as the channel has grown the last, especially through last season, she sees how excited that made me, and so she really wants me to, like, hey, keep going, and she sees the relationships that this sort of community has helped me form with yourself and John Perry, Alan Hain, and others. That she's just like, oh yeah, keep going, because I don't want to, not that I want to be a full-time YouTuber, because I think that's not, there are certain people that can do it. I don't think I could ever get to that point. But if doing lawn care YouTube videos could open up an opportunity for me to be a videographer outside of the company I work for, I'm going to take it.
Sure.
So she sees it as an opportunity to, like, something could come up. I find the right company that's looking for a videographer or an editor or something, graphic designer or something like that, and it could sort of mesh that passion for lawn care and that passion for videography and make it my job.
Yeah.
So it's just it's just marrying the right person that understands. And then I also give it back to her, where she, I'm going to take the kids today. You go do womanly things, whatever that is.
Womanly things. No, but you're absolutely right. That would be really cool if you were able to mix your expertise and knowledge with this passion of lawn care. Like that'd be really cool to have like a job that really encompasses both of those things that you love and like to do. Because I'm sure you enjoy the videography aspect of just your
Yeah.
normal day to day job. I have no doubt you like doing that, because it's a very and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a very kind of artistic. You're creating something and capturing something and then making something for somebody and trying to make it something that they want.
Mm,
And I could
right.
see how that could be very enjoyable. Where I'm sure you deal with some customers that may not be the most friendly or easy to work with, but who doesn't in any sort of customer
Right.
relations? There's always complications like that.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge sometimes, because you have to understand what people really are trying to tell you, and decipher their sort of, and sort of, you said it before, people within our community, like, you're learning how to film
Yep.
videos, and it's amazing how you've seen channels and creators in our community, like their styles have sort of evolved over the
Mm-hmm.
years. Um, because you're learning, you're figuring new things out. You're like, oh, I wonder how to do this sort of effect with this edit or
Yep.
whatever the case may
Yep.
be. And so, but for someone that doesn't know anything about it, and they're like, well, I want to kind of do this thing where this guy, he kind of disappears, and an effect happens, and you're like, okay, and he's just sort of, I guess, with
Yeah.
figure it
Right.
out, and then you realize you got it wrong, that it's not at all what they wanted, so you just misread them and wasted all their time
Sure.
and their money. So it's stressful at times, but it's fun. I love it.
Well, if anybody has any chats or any questions, not chats, if anybody have any questions, do throw them up in the chat. I see there's some good conversations going on. Coven's been talking to Jeff about Advanced Turf Solutions here in the St. Louis area. I have not been to Advanced Turf Solutions, but I've heard it's a good pro place to go for us DIYers that may want some more specified and higher end type of products. Um, which actually, I just kind of thought about this because Chuck, you made a video last year. I think it was last year where you were talking about products that you don't feel as comfortable with as something that you do getting from your Home Depot or Lowe's, whereas
Right.
that's kind of
Yeah.
what Advanced Turf Solutions is. You're going to get something that's really professional, really high end. Like it is going, there's not a lot of what people would call fudge factor with. Um,
Right.
so
Yeah.
speak to that a
It,
little bit from a homeowner and DIYer. Like what has that been like for you to learn with those things and maybe want to dabble with something that's a little bit more professional?
yeah, and so it came across. So I mean, I don't. I listened to. I think a lot of people have heard it by now, but Matt Martin's epic rant on another fellow YouTuber who does not have a doctorate degree, um, about spraying herbicide or something out of a hose and sprayer, like a professional
Mm-hmm.
product or whatever, and how you know, um, I think a lot of us creators, we tend to, especially me, sometimes I have to check myself. We lose the fact that a lot of us are, we don't know what we're doing. We're not professionals. And because we've seen people that are professionals use it, we think we can do that too. And so when a newbie comes in and they're watching our video, like we are sort of we're leading them, right? We're teaching them something whether we want to or not. And so if we show them something incorrectly and then they damage their lawn or something like that, even though they probably can't come back and sue us or anything like that, but we do bear some of that responsibility. And so I like looked into my cabinet in the garage, and I saw I had not very many, but I had some kind of fungicide and mesotrione, which isn't really that big of a deal. Like it kind of doesn't fall in that category because now it's sort of widely accepted by everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But I looked at it and I'm like, why am I using these products? If I do mess something up, and then because of something I said, and then someone watches my video and they mess something up, and I didn't want that responsibility. So it's like, I'm just a DIYer. I'm figuring stuff out. I just want to use the products I can get from the store, as much as I can. Now that I've, I've had opportunities to use stuff that I couldn't get at the store, like the next products, right? That's something I can't get at Home Depot. Um, so like there's that middle ground, but even the next line of products, I mean, that's as long as you follow the label, which is kind of the rule that I said in that video. Like if you want to use these products, just follow the
Yeah.
label. And nowhere on the label are you gonna, if you read it right, you're not gonna mess anything up. So it was more of just that realization that people are gonna watch me like I watched Alan Hain. If Alan Hain said to do this thing and he's using a hose and sprayer and doing it wrong, and then I do it, that's I didn't want to have that responsibility and screw someone else
Yep.
up. Because I don't ever like people getting mad at me. Not that I want to be. Everyone loves Chuck, but it's just I don't want to be. I don't want to do something that makes someone frustrated, upset,
Sure.
brings some sort of bad mood upon them. I kind of want to be that bit of joy with everybody.
Sure.
So, yeah. So that's kind of where that video came from.
Well, in uh in my videos, like where I've used, like last year when I was doing, corrective stuff with the soil pH, people were asking me like, "What did you do? How did you do it?" and those types of things. I mentioned what I did, but at the same time, I say, uh, you know, I don't know if if this specific regiment is going to be correct for your situation because when I talk to people like Matt and John Perry and Alan and Ryan or whoever it may be, I don't know if they're making recommendations that are specific to my situation or if they're just general recommendations that anybody who has for this example that has a high has a high soil pH can do the same thing. That's why I usually always mention, hey, I got this information from these people. Um, I don't know if this will work for you. Use this if at anything for you to go reach out to those people to help maybe give you some advice. Or one thing that I've that Alan always talks about that I think is a really good resource that many people don't know about is your local county extension. Like those people
Mm-hmm.
will actually be able to give you some really good sound advice as well. Because I don't know this for a fact, but I would imagine generally those people do have some education in that field to give you some legitimate background guide or guidance to doing the correct things. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I usually do. Like if I know if I'm using a product that requires a lot of precision, I always mention like
Mm-hmm.
I am not a professional. Do not take my word for it. This is just what I've known and learned through my own experience. And I always, like you said, I always try to mention like the label is the law, and that's what you need to follow. So,
Right.
um,
Yeah, it was now I've sort of lightened that stance just a little bit on my end, because I didn't want to be afraid to try new things, right? And so that's kind of where in my channel I've sort of stole. I don't say it, I kind of say it to myself when I'm editing. I'm not a how-to vid channel like what Connor
yeah,
Ward says. I'm not a how-to channel. It's more I want to be like, you can learn from my successes, you can learn from my failures. So if I do apply some sort of super professional product that I have no business really getting my hands on because it's way too expensive, and I kill my lawn, then hopefully someone learns from my mistakes. But then again, if, when I do the spring overseed tomorrow and my lawn turns out fantastic and it's just beyond my wildest dreams, then I want them to learn from that too.
mm-hmm,
So it's just me being trying to be real, and it's like, here's how you do it, or here's how I do it.
exactly.
If it works, yay. If it doesn't, well, sucks to be me, but hopefully you don't mess up like I did,
Sure, sure,
But then that creates content because I killed my lawn, so now I get to build it back up.
right.
So
um, does your what is does your wife kind of does she laugh at your obsession with lawn care? Like joke.
no, just not really, because she likes the feel of like thick
Okay.
turf. And so like last spring when the fescue, like I was considering not doing an overseed last year at my old house, just because I was pleased where it was. I may have like spot seeded a few areas, but she like would, whenever she would walk out in her bare feet and just let the cool grass, she just liked that feeling. um she got it. And even after the first season where it didn't look good, it was sort of embarrassing to put it online because it's still, I didn't kill off the weeds or anything. I kind of just scalped the lawn and just overseeded and then did it again the next year. Um, but she still was like, wow, this is amazing. This is the best grass I've ever walked on. And so I think she got it. Now, I think she does get a little bit laughs when it's like, hey, hun. And she sees that I'm looking at real mowers or something, or like a Time Master. And she's like, but you already have a mower. And I'm like, yes, but this is a new one. Look, hun, this has 11 blades.
And the time master is in the name of how
Yeah,
much more
I'm gonna come in
time.
so much earlier.
There you go.
I can give the kids a bath tonight.
There you go.
It hasn't worked yet though, because I still don't have a Time Master. So one day I'll figure it out.
uh, what
I do. I do like that people are like commenting on Classy Dark. That was a fun video. I liked Classy Dark. I really don't know if there was really a difference, but I loved using the 402 Flora Green with the microgreen and how it made the lawn look, and so I called it Classy Dark. So thanks, Growing with Greg. That was awesome.
I don't know if I've seen
And
that
this,
video.
yeah, it was just well, I can't because I did the double dark combo and I screwed it up.
Why? What
Like I
happened?
don't know if I didn't think I don't think I watered it in just right, or maybe I didn't have. I mean, I sent pictures to John, and we didn't really have a deep conversation about it. But I think I either didn't water it in enough, or like my soil composition wasn't right, like the balance wasn't there, and so some of my grass didn't like the extra dose of iron it got, and it he called it chocolate burn, but it bounces back. Like it doesn't like burn and die. It just sort of takes a little bit longer for it to get that dark color. But I did find out that it is an excellent weed killer when you hit it with too much iron. Because there was some I don't know what it was, but it was a woody weed in the lawn, and it like turned black.
That's
It
funny.
was fantastic. I sent it to John. He's like, "Oh yeah, man, back in the 50s, or John, back in the 50s, this scientist discovered that high doses of iron, is actually a really good weed killer." I'm like, "Well, there you
That's
go."
interesting. Yeah, I've done something like I've applied that as well, uh, and I didn't notice. I don't. It is kind of like I don't remember. It did kind of like turn the lawn, like you said, a little brown. Like it was like
Yeah.
a dark brown green kind of look. But then
Yeah.
after once you mow it out, it looks really
Hmm.
good. And I think
Yeah.
because when I look at the leaf blades of the grass, it's actually I think it has more to do with the watering in. Because when
Hmm.
I look at the grass blades, it's actually like things just dried on the grass blade and it didn't actually get down into the soil. Which
Yeah.
is I that's one thing that I've kind of been confused about with that uh, cocktail is I don't because I know like Green Effect is a foliar um, fertilizer and
Hmm.
microgreen is intended to be watered into the ground.
Yeah.
So I guess when you do the cocktail, it's better to just water it all into the ground because it'll. That's my assumption. I don't know if that's true. Too bad John's not in here. But if anybody in the chat knows, feel free to drop it in there. Um,
But that's how I came up with the classy dark. So I'm like, well, maybe I'm just not smart enough to do the double dark, but the classy dark using the 40. I love 402 Flora Green, and I'm not gonna sit here and schlep 402 Flora Green on everybody, but that stuff is fantastic.
do you use it in your lawn
Good summer fertilizer.
and your flower beds?
Hmm.
Okay.
I do. I actually ordered the 2.5 gallon jug of it for my house because I'm gonna be putting it on everything,
Okay.
including my beard.
Speaking of beards, this is actually coming off at some point this weekend. Uh,
No.
this is a winter thing. I literally shaved the last day of fall, and then I let it grow all winter, and then this is the last day of winter, and then I shave it at the beginning of spring. Cause I just keep it long. I grow it out in the during the winter. It's just kind of it does it. It keeps this, Chuck. Beards do keep you warm in the winter. Like when you're outside and it's cold outside,
That's
there is
great.
a degree of insulation that's happening that most people don't know about.
However, um, with COVID and wearing masks, it collects all sorts of moisture and it gets gross under there. I'm just saying that part.
Yeah, I could see that, but with me being at home, the majority of the time I don't have to generally wear a mask that much. So,
Man, it got toasty under the mask, and it's just sweat, and it was like the sweat ring right around here. It was nasty. But so yeah, I'm like, I don't know. I'm just the opposite. Like I'll shave my beard off for some reason in the winter. Like I did it for Movember 2 years ago. Was that 2 years ago? Yeah, it wasn't
yeah.
last year. So yeah, 2 years ago, Movember, I shaved it off and just kept the mustache. And then for some reason I did it again this winter. I have no idea why. And then I'll grow it out during the summer when you typically don't want a beard. I, I don't know. I need
Well,
help.
so
I
what
don't
I
know.
generally do, and this is again unlawn. This is not lawn care related, but this shows. Sometimes we'll just go off topic a little bit. But generally, what I do is I grow up my beard in the winter. Like I don't shave it off, nothing. Then throughout the year, spring, summer, and fall, I will like let it kind of grow. Like I'll get a little 5 o'clock shadow and a little it'll grow a little bit, and then I will go back like 2 or 3 weeks later and shave it off. And I just do that periodically because it, for one, it cuts down on the amount of shaving I have to do, so I'm not shaving every day. And two, I'm not growing the beard all summer long because it would kind of probably get a little warm that I don't want to have to experience being out in the lawn. And then when I get to winter, I'm like, all right, well, it's winter. I'm not going to be out in the yard when it's hot. So it's a perfect time to grow the beard out. So that's just why I was like, this is my winter thing. And then throughout the year, I just kind of let it come and go gradually. It's kind of like it's like Bermuda grass. It's the spring scalp. That's what's gonna happen.
I like that. I'm good with that. We'll call it the spring scalp. I'm good with that.
Hey, well, I've it looks like Left Tool just joined in tonight. I want to just say hello to everybody in the chat. I don't do the whole roll call deal, but thanks everybody for coming in tonight. If you like the show, if you like the channel and like the videos that I do, be sure to give this video a like. It does go a long way. It helps just share. It helps with the whole YouTube algorithm and how it promotes different videos and those types of things to people to come watch and all that. So if you wouldn't mind, give it a thumbs up if you like what we're doing tonight. If you don't, then don't give me a thumbs up. That's perfectly fine. It's your choice.
Yeah, that's okay. It happens all the time. No matter how many times it's like, hey, like and subscribe this channel, and you get like 2,000 views and 12 thumbs up. You're like, I don't know what that's supposed to tell me. So you just sort of like get your feelings hurt a little bit.
I wonder,
or at least I do. I'm like, oh, only 12 likes? What the heck? Who am I kidding? 12,000 views. I don't get 12,000 views. But still, it's like and subscribe. And
I've always wondered what it would be like if YouTube made you leave a comment if you hit the thumbs down button. Like, you can't leave a thumbs down, leave a thumbs down without leaving feedback. Obviously, that feedback is up to you up to that person as to whether it's just going to be atrocious and just nasty or actually constructive criticism.
Yeah, that's what I would like to know. And I mean, well, actually, I probably don't like to know because I'd be like, oh, what do you know, jerk? Because I'm like a 12-year-old. Yeah, you're a doo-doo head.
Speaking of people that may leave mean comments, I feel like that's a good segue. I haven't done this in a couple shows, the Keyboard Warriors. So we're gonna dive into Keyboard Warriors tonight, guys. Chuck has a few, not a ton. He's
that was another one.
So Chuck is just too nice of a guy to leave bad comments on, but we're gonna dive into some of the ones that he gave me. There's two, and then we'll go into one of the ones that he forgot to send me, but after we get into these. So Chuck, you can feel free to give us some context on these as well, but I'll read them out and go from there. So this first one, this guy not watching a guy who leaves his lawnmower blades loose on his mower and has to call his father-in-law over to fix it for him to give lawn care advice. Can't work on your own. This guy can't even write, so whatever. Can't work on something as simple as lawnmower. Shouldn't be giving lawn care advice, period.
It's true.
Chuck responded, I appreciate that you know what you like. and know what you don't. Maybe one day I'll restore your faith in me. Then the guy said, dadding all day, don't hold your breath. Chuck then said, can't win them all, I guess. I'll keep trying, though.
So that one actually kind of got me a little bit. Like that was after like a couple hours of just like thinking about it. So that video, so like I said, this is going on my third or fourth full year doing like lawn care stuff. And so like my old mower, it was just like a Walmart, whatever Walmart sells. I don't even remember what it was. Murray, is that it? Anyway, so then I bought the Toro, and I did just change the blade, and that's like the 14th, 15th. I'm always changing my blades, and so I've never had the blade go loose on me before. But I was mowing the backyard the day before that video, and it started vibrating violently, and I had no like, it's sort of that moment where your car's maybe breaking down, and you just sort of panic. So you don't know what it is, but it's probably just you have a flat tire or you're out of gas. But you don't think to look at the gas gauge. You're like thinking, oh my gosh, my whole engine's blowing up. I'm going to die. So I'm like thinking about it anyway. So yeah, but in the video, I guess he didn't watch the full video. So like I call my stepdad or my father-in-law up, not my stepdad, my father-in-law up, and I'm just like, hey, I don't know what's wrong with my mower. He's very mechanically inclined, where I was not raised that way. So like everything I do, I have to just sort of find out on YouTube. Like YouTube is my dad, which is really weird to say out loud. I wish I could take that back, but no. So I called him just to have backup, if it's not something simple. Anyway, as we're going and he's driving up to the house, I happen to turn the mower on its side, and sure enough, the blade was loose. So I figured it out. And then he commented that, and I'm like, you clearly didn't watch any of the video to get the context. You didn't watch the end of the video where I talk about, I'm not mechanically inclined, so it's like the mower is shaking violently. I don't think it could be something as simple as me not tightening the mower blade. I'm thinking the engine's about to explode. Go figure.
You always got to start with the simple things first, Chuck. But that.
Where were you when I was growing up to teach me that?
That's one of the things about the channel, like our channels, or at least that's how I try to keep it, is like, this is your normal average DIYer. Like, you can't tell me this guy hasn't done something that's almost equally as maybe like, simple and overlooked something so simple before. Like, we all do that kind of stuff. Like, that's, to me, you could have easily edited that stuff out and left it out of the video, and no one would have known. But I think a lot of people appreciate that authenticity a lot. So
I'm a dum-dum, so I'm gonna put it on YouTube. That's what makes it funny. Oh, look at that. It's sort of like you look at that gorilla picking his nose. It's like
well, the next one, this guy wrote, you host a professional lawn channel and one of the badass product lines on the planet, and you don't have a proper measuring cup for this. I measure out ferts and herbicides out by the gallons daily for a turf co. They are cheap at lawn stores, bro. What video was this?
So it was on the Next DIY channel, and I was using a orange pumpkin cup, where I had poured, like, I used a measuring glass. I poured 8 ounces of water in the cup, and then with a Sharpie, I drew on the cup where the 8-ounce line, or I don't remember if it was 8 ounces, but I drew it to a point. And so that was my measuring cup, because I broke my other one. So I needed a measuring cup. I didn't have time to go to the store, so it's called improvise. Yep. And I thought I added a nice touch. Who doesn't measure high quality fertilizers in an orange pumpkin cup? I thought it was cool. He just didn't think so.
Again, I think that's just another, I don't know. I appreciate that kind of stuff in videos, especially if like the person making the video or editing it acknowledges it. Like my measuring cup broke. This is all I got. Like you're just showing that, like, yes, I am a true DIYer. I'm learning as I go. I'm not trying to make stuff up and make it seem like I'm more professional or more knowledgeable about these things than I actually am.
I should say I broke my wife's measuring cup. I feel like someone just recently released a video talking about something like that. I think it was actually Pete with GCI said something similar about the measuring cup with, like, don't use your wife's measuring cup, use
I know
ours.
What you're talking about.
Or something like
it was
that.
It was a recent video he did about calibrating a spreader, I think, with somebody. I don't know who the guy was. It may be a local neighbor or a local friend, and Pete was telling the guy, don't go in and grab your wife's measuring cups. I know some people have done that, and that's, you don't want to do that.
Well, I did, and then I used an orange pumpkin cup, so sue me.
So what was the one you forgot to send me?
Okay. So, well, there wasn't one. There was one that I couldn't send you because I couldn't find it because I think the guy deleted it, but it was hilarious. So, or at least for me, it was. My wife found it funny too. So, for my son Joe D. Thatcher video from a couple years ago, it's like the one my biggest video on the channel, right? Because everyone wants to buy a
Yeah.
Sun Joe, so it gets a lot of hits. But anyway, so shortly after I released it, like it was the first video I think that I filmed like a short film for it. It was I was driving home from work and I'm talking about, oh, how excited I am to use the new Sunjoe Dethatcher and Scarifier, yay! And then I pull into the driveway, and my wife is
Oh yeah,
using it,
yeah.
and I hop out of the car and I like throw a little like temper tantrum hissy fit, and I storm off crying. And so someone commented on the video, and I pinned it top comments. I thought was hilarious. It's like, you should be ashamed of yourself. You are the man of the household, and you're acting like a child or a woman or something like that. I can't remember exactly what he said, but I was like, this is fantastic. You are my hero for commenting this. Now, I'm hoping he was serious. Like, I don't want it to be like he was just messing around. I want the person to be like, legit, like, you should be ashamed. Where's your manhood, you know? But yeah, now that you mentioned the one that I forgot to send you, now I can't remember what it was. There was another one. I'll think of it randomly, probably like while I'm laying in bed, and I'll wake up like,
You can leave it in
oh.
the comments.
But yeah, I don't get a whole lot of like like mean comments or whatever. Mean, but just like, harassing me, hassling me, whatever. Like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
Most people are pretty cool.
So
But
that
oh no, that's what it was. I remember now. I got it. Sorry. It wasn't. It was on Facebook, and it was after I did my 4th of July video, which you thankfully used the picture of for this advertisement. I appreciate you showing off the American flag romper that was
of
like a
course.
2X, but it was like for a 2X jacked guy, not a 2X guy with a big belly, so it never zipped. So that's why I had the American Eagle shirt underneath it. But he said I was disrespecting America, and he said, like, oh, you're disrespecting the American flag and all the soldiers that died for it. I'm like, dang, son. I'm like, I hope you enjoy eating your hot dog on your American flag plate and wiping your mustardy mouth with an American flag napkin as you drink your Coors Light from your American flag solo cup.
Yeah.
Like, I got salty on that one. I'm like, how dare you? It's a fun video. Like, it's me mowing the lawn, a guy that's wearing something way too small, shooting off fireworks as he mows. I even tried and I failed miserably for that video. Sidetrack. I put sparklers and Roman candles. I taped them onto the mower, which isn't the smartest thing to do anyway, because it's got gas in it. But I did anyway, and I try to light them all, and like I got the cheapest sparklers possible, and like I couldn't keep one lit long enough to get the other one lit, and then like it just was a big hot mess. And so that's where like I found that pyro sword that I use in it. I'm like, well, this is good enough. I actually kind of like the way that turned out, but I had this grand vision of like just fireworks shooting off the mower as I'm cutting the grass, and family and friends were like, I don't know if that's the best idea because there's gas. I'm like, but that would make it even better.
So I have some. Well, before I get into what I was going to say, do you have like with all the negative stuff? We can talk about that all day long with the YouTube comments and stuff. But like what has been some of the stuff that you've read in comments that have really been either motivational or just kind of like kept you going and like wow that was a really nice thing for that person to say and they didn't need to say that but they did. Like have you?
Um, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, or specifics, I guess. I think it's when you get more of those detailed comments that show that they really watched the video or they watched more than the first. Because I mean, clearly you see the analytics, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
your typical view time is like 3 minutes to 5 minutes, but I had a 15-minute long video, so where's the other 10 minutes, right? And but then you see like comments that show like, hey, they actually took the time out of their day to watch a 15-minute long video, which I'm actually trying to fix this year and actually do shorter stuff. Because even now with like 2 kids, I can't. Some of the videos I just can't watch, or I feel bad that I have to like do the 2 times speed through to like get to watch it. So it's but those comments that show that they watched the whole video because they took time out of their day to watch me. That's what sort of keeps me going. And there also are the comments, and it's I don't want to sound arrogant or anything like that, but it's people that acknowledge the effort that went into the
Yeah.
video. Like now there are videos I do where it's more like I felt that need to just get a video out because I wanted to do one video a week or whatever the case may be, or I was in a hurry, so it's more just,
Sure.
a big long time lapse. But a lot of my videos I try to put some effort in with the camera angles or the edits, some special effect or something. And so people that actually just comment and say, "Oh, I like that effect." Like my Christmas video, I turned into Santa Claus and I did like this burst of peppermints and stuff. And some people commented about how they really enjoyed that effect, and I'm like, well, at least they're appreciating like that little bit of effort. So like those are the ones that sort of just, yeah, like you said, keep you going. It's like, well, at least I'm reaching somebody. Somebody
Yeah.
appreciates it,
Yep.
But I did, speaking of that though, I'm gonna brag on others for a moment, because I thought about this. I don't remember why it popped in my head. I think I was just thinking about this particular what we're doing now, and you and Jeremy of the Greener Lawn were like the ones that got my channel started, like the growth, I mean.
Really?
So Jeremy of the Greener Lawn of the Greener Lawn. Jeremy of the Greener
Of.
Lawn? Why'd you say?
Of.
Yeah. Of. Did you just say the Greener Lawn? No. That's like the best little like back and forth I've seen. Next to Ryan, Nora, and Connor like redoing Step Brothers. I think that was a really good one too. But anyway, back when I started, I had like maybe 10, 15 subscribers, and Jeremy, shared my channel on Instagram. And so that like got me over 40 or 50. And yes, I remember the number. And then I don't remember when it was, but I was maybe at 60 subscribers or 70. And then you tweeted about my channel, and it got me that first 100, which is,
Okay.
if for all of us here that, do the YouTubes, that 100 is like that first big
Yep.
milestone outside of getting your first
Yep.
subscriber. But then you can, change the URL and all that kind of good stuff. And so got me over that 100 subscriber mark after I was like stagnant. And like that night, and I've never done it again, but that night, like I was playing Madden or something like that. I can't remember what I was doing, but it was after the kids went to bed because you're an hour behind me. So you're just getting ready for your evening, and I'm like winding down for the day. But I'm like watching my phone. I'm like, hey, hon, I hit 75. Holy moly, I hit 85. Golly gee, this is great.
College.
And then I hit one over 100, and I'm like, holy smokes. And so like, yeah, you and Jeremy like got me over that first hump. And so I want to thank you,
Well,
because if it wasn't for you, I mean, I'm sure maybe at some point we've gotten there, but like that first little bit of momentum is very important for like new channels. I mean, you could speak to that yourself, right? When you
yep.
first started, um, it's easy to get discouraged when it's like you're stuck at 50 subscribers for so long or whatever the number is, and to get that little boost, really
Yeah.
helps just sort of build that momentum. But then you get there when you're getting near 1,000, it's like I'll never get to 1,000 subscribers,
Yep.
and then you finally do, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is fantastic.
Well, I always remember, and I try to remember this even to this day, because I honestly my channel wouldn't be where it is without, people like without people like Ryan and Alan and Connor and Matt and John. Like they've all those people have helped all those bigger channels have helped people out, and it wouldn't have my channel wouldn't have grown. I mean, really hasn't grown that fast, but it wouldn't have grown as fast as it has without the help of other people. So, um, I still like to try to, give people shout outs. I don't ever like to try to give people shout outs and then make, because I don't want people to think like, oh, you're favoriting them or you won't, why are you
Mm,
giving them a shout out? You're not giving me, like, it's kind of that, you don't want to try to be rude in that way. Because if I could, I would try to give everybody a shout out because there's so many. I mean, you've seen it over the last couple of years. There's so many small YouTube lawn care channels that have started coming up, and I see a lot of my own channel when I see when I see those younger channels. It's just people that they're using their phones like I did initially on making videos. They're just kind of playing with it and learning and like, oh, this seems fun and those types of things. So you just want to help those people out because people helped you out. So,
Yeah.
um, I wanted what I was going to mention earlier about the 4th of July stuff. So today, actually, I thought about it last night, but then I was thinking about it more today, and I might help ask for your help at some point, Chuck. But I'm not going to say what it is, but I think I have a pretty good plan for a good 4th of July video this year that I think will pluck the strings of a lot of the people in the at least the age group of people that are in the community that will totally get the reference. Uh, but I think I'm going to need some help with how to film and maybe edit certain
Okay.
things. So I may ask for your help because you have that knowledge and skill. But I don't want to say it out loud because I don't want anybody else to take it. But I'm so pumped about it because I was like, this is it. No one did this last year, and I don't know if anybody's gonna do it this year. But if I do it first, it doesn't matter. So
Yeah. I mean, it was funny. I didn't realize it until I can't remember why. And I'm like, man, I wore a lot of costumes last year. What the heck am I doing wearing costumes? Like dressing up as Santa Claus, which my kids found hilarious. And it also, it sort of scarred them because they thought I was Santa because they're still young enough
sure,
that they didn't quite get the joke. And then romper costumes. And then I bought a turkey costume for Thanksgiving that I ended up returning because I didn't have time to film that video. But I wanted to like mow the lawn as a turkey and then have like friends try to hunt me while I'm like mowing the lawn. And then I'm glad I didn't go with that, but and now I'm kind of sad I didn't. Maybe I'll do more costumes this year. I don't know. I'm definitely gonna do more special effects though, because I watched recently my first video for the next channel where I did this lightning
yeah, that
bolt
was cool.
striking and then the Thor thing with the box. I'm like, that's fun because this year I want to challenge myself just to figure out different things I can do that maybe even with my smaller, viewership,
Sure.
but things that if they watch 500 of the lawn care videos, the other 499 doesn't have some dude getting struck by lightning. I don't know, unless it's like some dude actually does get struck by lightning, like for real, and then I'll feel really bad that I just said that.
Yeah.
Oh, Grace, I see her. I'm sorry, you asked me about flowers. I did mention it earlier, but I haven't decided yet. I still got to figure out where my sun and shade mix with like where the sun's direction is. Like, I can't figure out what areas are more sun, can use like the sun perennials, and what doesn't. I know in front of my house, I'm gonna plant. I think I'm gonna do a hydrangea or a couple hydrangeas, but I don't know in the colors yet, though. I'm gonna let my wife pick out the colors,
Well,
and definitely gonna be doing some dahlias this
you
year
should do you
out
should
in.
do wave petunias in certain places. Those are good low lying and they spread and they flower all year long. They're really cool. Uh, they're you have to plant them every year, but they're
Yeah.
if you like doing that, they're good. A lot of good color to it. That's what my wife and I use those. They're really cool flowers. So, well, we are over an hour, and I like to keep this show to an hour or so. And but I want to give Chuck an opportunity to, anything coming up to on your channel that you want to maybe tease a little bit for the viewers, where they can find your
Uh,
channel and Instagram stuff
yeah.
and all that kind of fun jazz.
Yeah, so coming up, I have a video coming out tomorrow. It's like the first time I've done two videos in a week in a very long time, and I scrambled to do it. But I'm trying to keep, like I said, I'm for my channel this season. I really want it to be episodic, not so much where it's like a TV show, but more like I'm teasing the next episode and the last episode, or there's something like that. So, and tomorrow I'm doing one on the flower bed and like extending out that property because I need to do my fall overseed. So that will be that'll be next Saturday's
Mm-hmm.
video, and then I did my first mow, which will be this Wednesday's video, which that was fun. My son helped for a little bit, and then he like just vanished out of thin air, and I found him upstairs playing hide and seek. So I don't know. Um, But yeah, I think just for my channel, it's just dadding all day, youtube.com/dadding all day. Same thing on Instagram, but I think it's dadding underscore all underscore day underscore, I think. I don't remember. I'm not on you or on the Facebooks too much anymore. COVID and the election kind of like wore me thin. It was so hateful on Facebook, so I had to hop off of it for a little while. And on Twitter, it is Charles F. Morgan
Okay.
because I use my full name for some weird reason. But if you want to get a hold of me, Instagram's probably the best bet. I do have Messenger, and I do check my Messenger a lot. But yeah, that is me.
Well, thanks, Chuck. And if anybody, if anybody's in here that has a new YouTube channel or you're thinking about starting some, reach out to Chuck because I think he could give you, maybe if you want to, give you some good advice on just kind of how to just start dabbling in it and how to maybe record simple videos to keep things easy for you to get going, and then maybe ways to build off that. Because with him being a videographer by trade, I think that's there's a lot of knowledge and expertise he could probably pass on to probably everybody, including myself.
Yeah.
So
I am of the mindset, and I'll say this just to piggyback off that. I'm of the mindset that you use whatever you can to make a video. Like if you're waiting for the right piece of equipment to come in, it's sort of like lawn care in a lot of ways. If you're waiting for that perfect mower or for whatever, you're never going to get it done because it's never going to be good enough. So it's like if you have your phone, just use your phone and record. I mean, how many channels are in the lawn care YouTube world that are recorded on their phones, right? It's just make something, make anything, film, do a time lapse of you mowing your lawn, and then just mess with that. But yeah, if you want to reach out, need equipment advice or whatever, I'm more than happy to help and answer any questions you have.
Well, I do sincerely appreciate everybody coming on board tonight. Chuck, thanks for coming on the show. It's been
I'm glad I'm the one like right before spring. Like I don't know why I was like, oh, that is so awesome that tomorrow is spring.
Yeah, and that reminds me, so I've been thinking about keeping the show going. Like I've thought about ending it once winter ended and just kind of keeping a winter thing. But if you guys wouldn't mind letting me know, like let me know in the comments, shoot me a DM. Do you want me to keep this going throughout the year, like where I maybe not do it every week, but every other week or something like that? I don't know. I'm still kind of contemplating that. Next week we will have Brandon from, now it's Lawn Culture. Is that his new name? It used to be Bush League Lawns, but it's Lawn Culture.
It's Turf Culture.
Yeah. He's going to be on next week, so I'm excited to have a local St. Louis lawn care nut on the show, so that'll be a good time. But I hope this was a good show for everybody to unwind and get ready for hopefully a warm, relaxing weekend where maybe you get to get out in the lawn a little bit, rake, throw it on a pre-emergent, maybe some fert, maybe mow. I don't know. Hopefully it's one of those two things and you're not cooped up inside. But thanks for tuning in, everybody. Chuck, any parting words?
No, just get out there and do something. Let's get out of the house. We've been cooped up all winter long. Let's go have some fun.
That's right. Thanks a lot, everybody. We'll see you next week.